I want to start by asking a question for Camila, actually. This film, I think, does this really wonderful job of breaking cycles of bullying. And some of this is based on class, especially with Drea. And I wonder if you talk a little bit about the importance of, I mean, Drea is imperfect, but and so is Eleanor, obviously. But would you talk a little bit about those cycles of bullying and the importance of breaking those?
Yeah. I mean, I think Drea, it's weird because her bullying comes more from this like really nuanced betrayal of like her friends turning their backs on her and isolating her. And I think leading up to that, whatever bullying she must have experienced was more subtle, you know? It's like the microaggressions. It's like, oh, like she's saying that you shop at Salvation Army and, you know, we don't care that your mom is, you know, poor, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's more the bullying that she experiences, but more than anything, it's the betrayal and the humiliation, and all her friends turning on her that I think is the most painful part of her character arc.
Yes, thank you for that. And Maya, I wonder if you would talk a little bit about playing this character who is queer, but it's really not a meal made out of it. It's not the central part of Ella's, you know, kind of issues, I'll call them. And I wonder if you would talk about what that means to tell this storytelling that is really forward thinking and that that's not the source of her problems.
Well, I think that the wonderful thing about this movie, and it kind of connects to what you were saying, is that these are full characters with full life stories and backstories. And there are, of course, problems even today with the struggles of sort of growing up and being queer or not fitting in or feeling these different sort of cycles of exclusion, which is really what I think like that class thing is about too, is it's like, oh, we're all going out to eat at Cipriani, wanna come? We'll split the bill. It's like, oh, sure, for me that means something, you're taking out daddy's credit card, and for me that means something really different. And everyone's talking about how they're, you know, falling in love with Zac Efron in High School Musical, and you're not, and what does that feel like? And you're like, it's these sort of like microaggressions and cycles of exclusion that can take place. But I think what's amazing about this story is that all of these characters have, I mean, Alicia's character like has his own side, all these characters have their own lives that involve all different moments of different kinds of pain. And then there's the active pain of the storyline that's happening that we're watching. And as an actor, it's just always really satisfying to get to play characters with such full lives.
Great, thank you. The source material, well, I mean, there's many source materials or many homages in this, but Strangers on a Train, the novel, and the film are both deeply kind of homoerotic. And you two get to have these moments of intimacy over your shared, I'll call them crimes. And I just wonder how much fun it was to kind of play into this intimacy that is formed over this thing that you're doing, which is, of course, revenge. And I'll go to you, Camila.
It's interesting.
Friendship.
It's interesting because, like, I don't perceive it in that way. But I think that's up to the audience's interpretation. Sure. But I think, like, in those moments that we are physically close, or that, for me, it's just like that's their friendship language, you know?
Yeah, I feel so bad for men and boys and their relationships that they don't have the same intimacy with each other that especially young women get to have with each other, whatever your sexuality is. There's so much closeness and like sleepovers and sharing a bed and like braiding each other's hair and getting like there's so much closeness and intimacy, and there's such a long history of that going back like hundreds and hundreds of years for women. And I think it's different. I think that's just their friendship and their intimacy and like
their dynamic.
Yeah.
I think there's I certainly have friends like that too, that I'm incredibly like I love to cuddle my friends and to like get up, you know, it's like, that's just how we express love for the people we love.
Yeah.
And I think that's Drea and Eleanor like love each other.
As they get to, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I have to wrap. Congratulations on the film. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
Thank you. Take care.